Hello and welcome to another week of Chasing Winners here on Sky Racing. Great to be with you, Dan Huddy here, and hopefully you found a few winners throughout the last 7 days as we build up to what's going to be an epic Friday night of racing from Sandown Park with the Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup. Great to have your company, and here's hoping we can find you a few winners throughout the show. As usual, joined in Sydney by Jason Lincoln, and from the home office here in Melbourne, Jason Adams, or Jason Squared as we like to call it. Boys, welcome to you both. Wiz, first and foremost, hello to you, mates, and it's been an epic last 7 days of racing, and highlighted, of course, by the heats last week.
Yeah, good evening to you, Dan. And yeah, you're spot on. Last week was outstanding. And look, even the preludes the week before really whet our appetite, didn't it? But I think we've ended up with a cup field that I'm sure the club are very, very proud of.
They certainly should be, and no one better to tell us that than Patch Adams. Jace, great to be joined by you, mate. And it was a fantastic night on Friday night and gearing up for what's going to be an epic final again this year.
It was a magnificent night last Friday, Dan, and not only do we have the superstars go around, but I think we got validated the interest in the night itself. It was a record-breaking night in terms of turnover, so we saw the absolute best of what greyhound racing has to offer. And you speak about the field that's ahead of us in the final this Friday. Look, I've only been around a handful of years. It's the best field that I've seen. But speaking to others who have been around for decades, they say it's one of the best cup field that's ever been assembled. So it's an absolute cracker. We've got some of the biggest names in the sport lining up, so couldn't be more excited for it.
Yeah, it's a class race, that's for sure. And we'll go into the preview for the feature a little bit later on in the show. Let's have a look at what's coming up over the next 7 days, and more in particular on Friday night as we have a look. Casino also hosts the Group 3 Casino Cup, so it's not just Sandown Park that'll have eyes on them come Friday. And then, of course, there is the lineup for Friday night at Sandown. The Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup, the highlight, the Bold Treese there as well. The Group 3 Sir John Dillon Memorial, Provincial Plate, the listed Cup Night Sprint, and GRV Vic Bred Maiden. It's a fantastic lineup of racing coming up on Friday night. And, of course, away from the feature, boys, of course, being the TAB Melbourne Cup, and Wiz, we'll start with you. Where are you looking forward to most come Friday, away from the Melbourne Cup, that is?
Well, I think that one's pretty obvious. I think the third race is clearly... it's sort of like an up-and-comers race, if you like. These could be the dogs that in 12 months' time are very much at the top of the market in terms of Melbourne Cup betting. And primarily, Patch, I speak of the two brothers. There's another representative going around the maiden, so it's one of the hottest litters going around. But I think that third race is the one with a lot of interest centring around those really, really promising pups.
It is, and look, it's one of those races, Wiz, on a feature night or any sort of feature, juvenile or maiden race here. It looks good on paper. You know it's full of talent, but you never quite know what you've got until you go back in 6 to 12 months' time and look back on that field and think, wow, what a race that was. I remember looking back on the laurels of maybe 2016 with Strike a Light and Uphill Jill, and you go back through that field and think, goodness me, what a race. Exiley Rallum was included in that. So yeah, you never quite know what you've got till you look back, but from what we've got at the moment on face value, you're right. We've got that terrific litter with McCauley's lad, brother Bearing, and then they've got another one in the maiden final. So it's a great night of racing. I know you said away from the Cup, Dan, but I just can't wait for that 6 seconds from when the green light gets switched on for the Cup, and as just everyone holds their breath until those lids rise. So it's a special night. There's no two ways about that.
That is the best part of the race as well, just gearing up for those boxes to open up. Let's get into the preview for, of course, this massive meeting come Friday night. And we are starting off with the Vic Bred Maiden final. It's coming up as race number 2 on the program on Friday. And having a look at the market here, pretty tight up the top of things here. Mapunga Reject, $2.70. Major Sacrifice there at $2.80. Further down to Shimmer Jake at $5, $9.50 She's So Kind, and double figures for the rest. Boys, what have we made of the market, starting with you, Wiz? Is it pretty accurate as we move on to the speed map?
Yeah, I think the market's virtually spot on. I think the speed map's probably open to conjecture, and that's, Patch, pretty often the case in maiden races because, they're really very, very lightly raced, these dogs, and we, in many, many ways, we haven't settled on an established pattern for most of them yet.
We haven't, and we got that limited form where if you only had one or two starts, you can tell they've got talent, but you don't actually know what their habits are going to be like going forward, where there are good beginners, where they do want to get to the fence, you never know. So I think from a market point of view, it's wide open from a speed map point of view, and I'm always a big believer, Dan, in when you get these, headline acts go through maiden heats, and they do look to be the short price favourite in the finals. Anything can happen in maiden finals, so you probably got to look to who's going to be settling forward early on, but again, it's a field of great depth and plenty of talent throughout it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of these races, just so open. As we get into the replays, and we're going back to the semi-finals, and we're going to start, of course, with Mapunga Reject, looking out for box one here, Wiz.
Yeah, and he gets every favour off the draw. Look, he showed on debut 29.51 from box 3 that he was a quality pup, and the return on this day, Patch, 29.42. Look, I think the times on the day were probably a little bit quicker than average, but look, it's really just the draw that's, I guess, the negative with him, isn't it?
It is, and we see a messy finish there to that race. Nothing serious to come out of that, thankfully, but you're right, it's just the draw that probably lets him down. He's had a couple of nice ones, and given the warm day, conditions were conducive to fast times, and he put together a run that was just as good as what he did on debut. And know for even before this greyhound debut, the kennel had a real big opinion of what this greyhound might be able to do. So looking forward to what he can do. But you're right, the draw is probably the small letdown there. And Danny looks to be as well. We were thinking about the ones with plenty of talent, but bad draw in a maiden final. Questions asked.
Yeah, it's a tough ask, that's for sure, and that is our favourite, of course, Mapunga Reject. As we move on to the second of the semi-finals, having a look at She's So Kind from box 2. Wiz, what did you make of this?
Yeah, look, just watch the dog from the 3. He beats him out easily, Major Sacrifice. Jeez, he looks like his two brothers, doesn't he? He's obviously the unlucky loser in the race. Western Country, I think it is, that had the red on that occasion, drove up underneath him, took him off his feet, really. I think his performance to get up and qualify in the end's outstanding. Look, taking nothing away from the winner, she was in the right place at the right time, but I think she was probably fortunate to win here, Patch.
And running that sort of time, as we know, we've seen a few of these who have gone better, and she's probably have to settle on the speed and set that time and improve a fair bit on it to go on and win.
Okay, so we've spoken about how open these maiden finals are, boys, as we get into selections, and a little bit of talk there about Major Sacrifice. We'll start with you, Wiz. Where are you going here in the final? Yeah,
I'm with Major Sacrifice. I liked what I saw from him on debut, where he only went 5.20 the first mark, 29.64 overall, but he improved significantly his box manners there in the semi-final. He was unluckily beaten in 5.07 to the first mark, which is the second quickest split in the race outside of Post Office Girl, who's got the pink. So don't think that she makes it all the way over. I think from the red, if he comes out like you saw there in the semi, he leads. I think if he leads, he wins. He looks a very, very smart pup, in great hands with Jay Thompson. And from this litter that is just throwing up rocket after rocket. So I want to be with Major Sacrifice. I went 1, 5, 7 and 3.
I'm with Major Sacrifice as well. And again, I like the way that he got away from the box in his semi-final on Sunday, where he didn't look that professional in his first start, which how many do in their first outing, just like human beings. But for the second start, he got down perfectly and he nailed the jump. So if he does that again, half the battle he's leading in these maiden finals, and I think he's a big chance to do that. Second, I went number 5, Mapunga Reject, and we've spoken about the raw ability that he's got, the strength. We'll see how good he is at this stage of his career from a bad draw, but clearly a real serious up-and-comer. Third, I went number 7, Shimmer Jake, who's probably just as good as these that we've mentioned, but the wide draw is going to be the test for him. And then I threw in Westar Bundy for 4th as well. So 1, 5, 7 and 6 in this very deep maiden final. Dan, looking forward to see what comes of it.
Yeah, it certainly is. So major sacrifice for both Patch and Wiz in the first of the features come Friday night. As we move on to the second of the features, race number 3 on the program, and this is the Super Vic Greys finals. We have a look at the market here. And of course, it features Macaulay's Lad. We've spoken about this dog already tonight, closely related to Poke the Bear, out of range and hooked on Scotch. Just a couple of superstars there. And is the favourite here at $2.10, Macaulay's Lad. $4.20 for Sweet Pettit. And then Hadouken at $5.50, Brother Bearing $6.50, and double figures for the rest onto the speed map. And we'll bring you both back in here. Wiz, a bit of speed from Macaulay's Lad. Are you expecting this dog to take up the running?
I would expect him to be certainly vying for early supremacy here, Dan. The pace to his outside with Hadouken and to a lesser extent Dr. Rossi, I guess, is some little concern. I would think that the red Sweet Petite and the white Brother Bearing are capable of leaning closer to the speed than what is seen there on the speed map as well.
I thought with Macaulay's Lad, we've seen a couple of times him go on 5-0s in the run to the first split in these sort of races. That leads the race. He's got Hadouken on his outside. He's obviously got that turn of foot, but I don't see him crashing down. So I think there's going to be a bit of room for Macaulay's Lad early on there, Dan.
All right, now we have spoken about Macaulay's Lad. Let's have a look at the replay from the heats in pretty slick time here. Wiz, talk us through this.
Oh, what's not to like about this dog? I mean, he's already run 29.09 there. You see, he just wants to come, one dog up the track, well, further than where he was from the draw. So I think a middle draw is perfect for him, and he's had plenty of experience from these middle draws in the past. In fact, other than the 2 starts that he's had from box 1 you're watching here and a start from the pink, he's only had middle draws. 29.09, 29.14 he's recorded in his 2 wins there at Sandown. Look, you'd have to suggest he wouldn't be out of place in a Melbourne Cup if he was to be there. It's just the draw. That's the only knock on him. There's no doubt that he's, I guess, of the youngsters going around in Victoria at the moment, he'd have to be in the top 2 or 3 that are, destined for bigger and better things.
On pure ability, he's doing everything right, and just another real smart one to come out of the Anthony Has a Party team. And you're right about him, Wiz, from box 1. He may have just wanted to be a body width a little bit wider, and we saw that in a prelude in his recent start prior to that, where he just got caught up in a heap of grief, but there's not as much pressure going into a race like this. Although it is very good, none of them can run the times that he can. So, Dan, you can run some serious times, Macaulay's Lad, and look, if he gets clear, watch out.
Yep, certainly the case there with the favourite. Now, a dog I'm keen to get your thoughts on, Wiz, is Brother Bearing as we go back to this particular dog's heat. Looking for box 1 again here. Talk us through this.
Well, I thought this was a brilliant performance here. I know he had box 1, but he still overcome difficulties to score. It's his first look at Sandown under race conditions. In fact, it's his first race start away from the big open spaces there at Ballarat, where he created a massive impression. 25.16 on debut, and then, if you don't mind, 24.99 his second start in a race. That was actually last week after chasing win. As I walked out of here, it was the first race that I saw. And look, in the end, I guess it looks tradesman-like, but I just think he's open to so much more improvement that the $6.50 he is at the moment just makes a little bit more sense to me than what the $2 or the $2.10 about Macaulay's Lad does at the moment.
And it wasn't really a mirror image, that performance from his Ballarat wins where he broke 25, which we know very few greyhounds are able to do. But you're right, Wiz, it was his first look on the 2-turn track at the big smoke on the big stage, and he's going to improve from that. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, so we've got a raging hot favourite in Macaulay's Lad here, boys. Where are our selections going, starting with you, Jason Lincoln?
I've gone 3, 5, 1 and 2. Look, if they were priced up the same, Brother Bearing and Macaulay's Lad, I'd definitely come down on the side of Macaulay's Lad. But look, it's a punting game, and he's $6.50, and I don't think he'll start anywhere in the vicinity of that price. I have him a clear second favourite in this market. I do have a healthy respect for Sweet Petite, who's got the red, but I'd be very, very surprised if they don't come for him at the price that he is, $6.50, Brother Bearing. I've got him on top of Macaulay's Lad, who is so obvious, he picks himself. Sweet Petite in great hands with Daryl Holmes, a bloke that I've got a lot of respect for, and 29.41 in the heat. She showed herself to good effect there. I've left, what did I leave there for fourth? Haha MacGyver, who's got a little bit of pace and the draw to use it, and was just a price to throw in there for first 4 players. But I think this is, as I said at the top of the show, I think outside the Cup, this is the race that holds the most interest all night for me.
And Macaulay's Lad jumps off the page for mine. Box 5, I'm not overly concerned. I think Hadouken on his outside will probably hold his line, and there's not a heap of pressure towards the inside. So I feel that Macaulay's Lad's going to get those first few strides to get moving. 29 O's, 29 ones. It's bloody fast, and we'll see if he can repeat that again from the draw. Second, I went number 6 in Hadouken. And look, he was going around at the Meadows week after week and running around that 30 and 30 mark. And I thought to myself, if he was to improve at all, he's going to win some more races quickly. And he's done that, exactly that, and a little bit more. He was terrific in his run on Sunday. Third, number 1, Sweet Petite, who didn't do a lot wrong at all in her heat. And then fourth, number 3, Brother Bearing, who clearly has a lot of talent. I just thought he's got a little bit to learn in his second start on a 2-turn track. So that's the only reason why I took him on, but going to be a real serious talent in the future. So 5, 6, 1 and 3 for mine.
And Patch with the impressive Macaulay's Lad on top there in the Super Vic Greys final. As we move on to the next of the features, this is the Provincial Plate finals. We have a look at the market. Interesting race. It's been run at numerous country tracks around the state as well. Favourite here listed, $3.60 Puppy Go Fast, $4 for Mapunga Night, $5 Sunny Days, William Rose at $7. Further down to Ballymac Vicar at $8.50 and Mapunga Missile at $9. Plenty of chances here, Wiz. Have you agreed with the market as it stands right now?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. I think Pappy Go Fast is the right favourite, and I think the map's right as well. To my eye, he looks almost unleadable, Patch. I don't know what your read is.
Well, it looks to be a faultless beginner, and all he's got to do is continue what he's been doing, and he's going to lead the race. So, Dan, it's just a matter of doing what he's always done, Pappy Go Fast, and he's going to find himself out in front.
And here is the replay of Puppy Go Fast. Wiz, what did you make of this?
Well, exceptional early pace, exactly what Patch was alluding to, and we'd seen that on offer basically since start 1 or 2 with him when he ran 17.60 at Cranbourne. He's run near record times at Horsham. He ran near record at Warragul 2 runs ago, 22.17. The fact that he was able to stretch his pace here to 500, he actually surprised me a little bit, I've got to say. He wasn't getting tired on the line, and I think 500 around a big open track like that, coming back to Sandown, 520, 4 bends, I think it equates to the same sort of setup for him, and geez, I think he's the one to beat.
It's just brutal, that early pace, so keen to see that from him. We're also going to have a look at the win of William Rose at Sale, and look, this is a sort of race where you get performances at all sorts of country tracks around Victoria, and it is hard to sort of match up what to expect on a city track over the distance. But for William Rose, see him there from box number 3. He couldn't have done much more. 29.11. The only query that I've got, Wiz, is he's 41 starts into his career and just had 1 at Sandown from a team that is consistently racing at the track. So I'm not sure why he would have been kept away, but clearly you can run the time over this distance.
I've got a couple of little other queries you can put alongside your one if you like, Patch. And in fact, this is a question to you. We saw him jump so well there, but as you said, in 41 previous starts, I've got him down as leading probably 3 times, and all 3 have been at Sale. Every other time he's just a very, very average beginner. You're taking him on trust that he'll jump as well as he did there last time?
Well, confidence out of such a dominant win. I know his best work has come at Sale. That would have been where he did the bulk of his education. But I think another important thing to note is he's going around a lot of free-for-alls too at Sale. So he knows how to sort of handle himself under the pressure. And I just feel in a race, I think there's value about him and hopefully gain a fair bit of confidence from winning so easily last start.
All right, boys, we've analysed the Provincial Plate final. Now it's time for selections. Jason Lincoln, which way are you going here, mate?
I went 8, 6, 4 and 7 here, Dan. I think he leads, as I said, Pappy Go Fast, and I was certainly encouraged by the way he hit the line over the 500 there at Bendigo last time. So I think he can lead all the way. I've got him on top of the 6 Sunny Days. He's a pacey type. Look, if Puppy Go Fast doesn't lead, then I think he may well be able to lead, so I left him there for second. Ballymac Vicar's a dog I really, really like. Some of his performances at Sale recently have been very good. Okay, he didn't go quite as quick as what William Rose did there last start, but he's probably a slightly more reliable beginner than that greyhound. And I left Blue Tiger there for fourth. I actually would have liked to have him up a little bit higher because I was impressed with him at Cranbourne, and I've seen a little bit of him here in New South Wales as well, and I've always liked the dog. So just having pace either side was a bit of a problem for him. I didn't know what to do with Patch's boy, William Rose. In the end, I actually just left him out. But, yeah, look, 29.11. I know they're running really fast times there at Sale these days, but, geez, not many get down to that sort of mark.
It's real quick, and that's why I've got him on top. And, again, hopefully taking some confidence from such a dominant win. He hasn't had a lot of experience at Sandown, but pretty hard to knock that last start. Second, I went number 8, Pappy Go Fast, and for all the reasons that Wiz has put forward. He's got that brutal early speed, which we know goes a long way to winning races on the two-turn tracks. Third, number 5, Mapunga Missile. It was only just over 2 lengths off the Geelong track record in his heat there to qualify for this race. So he can seriously run. Box 5 is a big query for him. And fourth, number 6, Sunny Days, who went through that feature race series at Shepparton, which he won and did so in very good fashion. And now's the time to step up. So 3, 8, 5 and 6 for mine, Dan, in the Provincial Plate.
Fantastic race coming up, that's for sure, on Friday nights. All right, time for a break here on Chasing Winners. Stay with us. We're looking at the Group 1 Bold Trease next. Welcome back to Chasing Winners as we dive into the massive program at Sandown Park on Friday night with the Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup. Speaking of Group 1s, the next race that we're going to be having a look at is the Bold Trease. This is race number 5 on Friday. A fantastic field, headlined, of course, by Houdini Boy. $1.80 is the raging hot favourite with TAB fixed. Sweet as M at $7.50. Blazing Cartier, $8.50 each of 2. Sunset Burbsky and Manila Night. And then down to Sir Truculent and Tornado Tears, the second reserve, both at $9. Jason Lincoln, what have we made of the Bold Trease?
I really like the market in terms of, in terms of a betting event. I personally think the favourite's under the odds, but my little sidekick will disagree vehemently when he gets his say. Look, the speed map's up for plenty of conjecture. For mine, Blazing Cartier's 100 to 1 of leading this field. I think Manila Night probably leads them, but look, she'd be on pace somewhere. Blazing Cartier, Sweet as M or Manila Night. Look, the leader for me, Patch.
Yeah, it's going to be between them. I think Blazing Cartier, as we've seen so often in feature staying finals, where she doesn't exactly lead ping and find herself in front, but she always puts herself in a very competitive position at the front half of the field. And you're right, Sweet as M is likely to show so much speed as she did in her heat last week. And look, it was sort of a bit of a sudden step up to the 700 metres because there was a decision Connection had to make whether they do target the Melbourne Cup or step up for the Bold Trease. And given she is a bit of a get back and run on type for the Melbourne Cup, it's not the traditional pattern that you do see them having success in and go on to win heat. So they decided to step her up, and she handled herself very well. We're seeing here setting fast splits, and the time overall is probably one that surprised me. I knew she wouldn't be all that strong, but gee, she broke their hearts early on, and 41.54 is moving.
Well, in fact, she's actually stronger to the line than Houdini Boy, Patch. So in Houdini Boy's race, they went 6:02, 15, 60, 30 and 16, 41.55. And Sweet as M went 30 and 18, 41.54. So she actually came home stronger than what Houdini Boy did. I think I made the point on last week's show that she's always been bred to stay. Her mum stayed well. Most of the litter have stayed. And she's just been a little bit too brilliant up until now. But we made the point on last week's show, she's a little bit older now, a little bit more one pace. And she ran it out really well there last week.
All right, let's have a look at Houdini Boy's heat in slightly slower time than Sweet as M. Wiz, talk us through this win.
Slower. The first shock was when he came away where he did. Handled himself really well at this point of the race when the blue went to drive up under him. That could have went pear-shaped. As I said, 6:02, 15, 60 was led for most of those sections, but then 30 and 16, 41, 50, 56, I guess we rounded it up to in the end, Patch. Outstanding performance taken in isolation. The only thing, and I made this point on the catching pen, is $1.80. People are assuming he's going to improve. I would take the opposite view, that he probably can't begin any better. I don't know. Can he go quicker than 41.56, Patch?
I think long term, yes. Whether we see it on Friday night, we'll see. But no, he's not going to begin any better than what he did last Friday. I thought stepping up to the 700 metres and having that opportunity to accelerate with more ground in the run to the first turn would benefit him, but didn't expect him to settle where he did, and he took the lead very early on. I wouldn't want to see him take the lead that early coming into this Friday night. I think he's better off probably settling third or fourth. And we saw in his debut over 700 metres a couple of months ago, he come from nowhere, and it was a seriously good staying performance. And to me, he's not a real high-speed, burn the candle out sort of type. So I think coming into this Friday, I don't expect him to go any worse. Whether he improves, we'll see. But look, I think there's been too much to like about him over 600 metres to not think that he's going to certainly excel over the distance. I agree with you in terms of the price. It is a bit skinny. I think he will certainly get out to either even money or even a little bit better come the time of the jump. But look, I think alarm bells long term, so we'll see if he's got what it takes this Friday night, Dan.
All right, and the third and final heat to have a look at, taken out by Blazing Cartier. We're looking out for the white rug, 41.64 the time was.
Yeah, well tipped up by Patch here to knock me off in my last leg of my multi here last Friday with Manila Knight. He just wasn't as well away, Manila Knight, as what I expected, so I thought he'd land in front of her. So he's actually had to burn... He's probably had to burn, a couple of lengths worth of petrol tickets to get to that far in front of Blazing Cartier. Patch, had he jumped a little bit better, he would have been probably exponentially more in front of her. Look, I think he will improve a little bit. Blazing Cartier, what you see is what you get with her. I guess, for me, the big question marks about the dog that's going to rattle home into third, Sunset Burbsky. I just don't know what to do with her at the moment, Patch.
No, neither do I. I don't think she's at the heights that she was at through that middle part of the year. Is she working back into that? That run just there suggests that she may be, but I don't think she's going as well. But of course, happy to be proven wrong. But Blazing Cartier, that was the best run home of the heat winners that we saw. But you're right, the Sunset Burbsky's running on, the He Shall Power's running on earlier. They're going to be the strength in the race. In terms of Manila Knights, I know Connections were a bit frustrated that they were in a later race last Friday, being race 11, because he's not one that handles the kennel experience for a long period of time. So they'll be certainly more comfortable that it's early on being race number 5, and they'd be expecting him to be better suited by that.
All right, plenty of questions asked here for the first of the Group 1s, the Bold Trace. Onto selections. Jason Lincoln, where are you going here?
I think there's two great bets in this race, Dan. I think Sweet as M is the first of them. She was $8 early in the week. She got in a short of $6.50. I think she's back to about $7 now. As I said, I think she's open to as much improvement as any other dog in the race. I think she can lead, and if she leads, she can take a lot of running down. I've got her on top. I think the other great bet in the race is He Shall Power. How he is $26. I've got no idea. I'll be ducking off to have something on him in the next commercial break. I thought his run in the heat was outstanding from a draw that he absolutely detests. As we said, Houdini Boy came away better than what we would have expected on that occasion, so I think he can probably even the score there with Houdini Boy a bit. And I've just got the impression his last 2 or 3 He Shall Power that he's starting to come back to his best. Don't sleep on him. $26 is an outrageous price. Houdini Boy I've left there for third. No doubt he's a superstar, but it's all price related, and Manila Knight I've left there for fourth. But I think the top 2 are worth having something on.
It's a great race, and we see some great extremes as well with high speed and a lot of strength. So there's probably going to be a big gap between first and last through the middle part, but in the finish, it's going to be an absolute belter. I did go with Houdini Boy, and Wes is speaking about price, and he's probably using his head over his heart, where I'm doing the opposite and using my heart over my head. But I think Houdini Boy is just a beast. He's going to excel over 700 metres, and I hope he makes a real statement for the staying ranks over the next 12 to 18 months on Friday night. Second weight number 2, Sweet as M. She's going to show that high speed. Whether she burns out a bit and goes a little bit slower than last week, we'll see, but she couldn't have made a better 700-metre return. Third weight number 4, Blazing Cartier. She's just an out-and-out, true, genuine stayer, and certainly not out of place in Group 1 finals like this. And then for fourth, number 8 in Manila Knights, who's going to show some speed from out there. But look, I've left out ones like Sunset Burbsky and He Shall Power. I'm very nervous about. They're going to be the swoopers, but this is a great race, Dan. Again, there's going to be a big gap between them, but we're going to see a ripping finish. I get that feeling.
Yeah, certainly is a fantastic race. The Group 1 Bold Trace, as we now move on to the Group 3 Sir John Dillon Memorial. This is race number 7 on Friday, right after the big one. And the market as it stands, $3.20 Christo Bale, 10 cents in front of Weblek Ace. Last Hurrah at $5.50 and Zipping Bram at $6.50. Jason Lincoln, I love the look of this field, and the putters just tossing up between the top 2 in betting.
As good a 595-metre field that I've seen in recent times. There is some absolute cream here. Completely disagree with that speed map. Whoever's doing the speed maps at GRV has a real love affair with Mapunga Maggie Patch. Remember, they had her leading ahead of the Melbourne Cup last week. I'd be surprised if Weblek Ace doesn't lead from box 1, but look, La Syrah's the other obvious one.
I think from that speed map point of view, it's sort of gathered on kilometres per hour. She's done a lot of racing over 600 metres where the first splits are usually quite long, so her high average speed is a bit higher. So I think that could be the way that works. But you're right, Wiz, this is a belting 595 metre race. And to look at race 9, which is a mixed 4-5 over this distance, and think they're the sort of greyhounds that missed out in this field, you think, what on earth does this John Dillon field look like? And it's an absolute belter. So look, you can look at this a few different ways, Dan, but look, the one thing that isn't up for debate is this is a ripping field.
Absolutely no questions asked there in terms of a debate on that point of view. As we jump into the replays, let's have a look at the Melbourne Cup prelude win of Weblek Ace. We're looking out for box 2 here, Wiz.
Yeah, and Patch would have been far too modest and polite to say, but yes, I agree with what Patch didn't say there. I think Wallbanger probably should have been in this race. This is Weblek Ace destroying a Melbourne Cup prelude field. Now, key note here, and we made this point when we were speaking about Zipping Zeke last week, that's Zipping Zeke there in the 5, and okay, just checks off him there and loses a bit of momentum, but even from here on, there aren't too many dogs who will hold that margin over Zipping Zeke with him sitting on their hammer late on in a 500 metre race. So, as I said, I think, look, he's not a wicked beginner anymore, Weblek Ace. He used to be a lot zippier. As he's gotten older, he's become, a little bit more dour at box rise, but he's got enough pace that he'll hold Christo Bale, Zipping Bram and Here's Tears, I would have thought, and that puts him in a striking position.
You're right, he's lost that early pace that he had once upon a time, but he sort of converted that into brutal strength. That run home there in that prelude, those top 3, they didn't get the credit that they deserve because visually it wasn't that impressive. On the clock, it was outrageous. That run home was about 10:31 off the top of my head, and they do not get home any better than that. So he's a beast at Weblek Ace. We're now going to have a look at Christo Bale, and he's one of my favourite greyhounds. He ran third in a Melbourne Cup heat last Friday, and I think we're stepping up to 600 metres. This is going to be his bread and butter and probably where he does his best work because he's dropped back for the feature races where, not that he's a slow beginner, but he's up against the best sprinters in the land and it's very difficult to compete with them early. So I think stepping back up is going to be less pressure early. We might see him settle in a more commanding position.
He religiously runs sort of 5:15 to 5:20 odd, doesn't he, to the first mark. So, I mean, he's not a slow beginner, but these elite greyhounds in Victoria at the moment, they can all go sub 5:05, and that puts him at least 3 lengths behind them and with traffic in front of him as a rule in these 500s. And we've made the point recently, haven't we, Patch, that in these big races up against the real cream, he's just been getting outpaced. He's much better suited coming back here. And yeah, look, I mean, I've tipped against him. I've gone 1, 2, 3 and 5. I went Weblek Ace to win it. Reverse the draw with he and Christo Bale, and you can reverse my selections. Zipping Bram's the question mark, isn't he? I mean, trialled 28.90 there the other week. A dog certainly capable of breaking 34 over this trip as well, Patch, but he's going to give the other 2 a couple of lengths start, and as we know, he's not the greatest at box rise. So I left him there 3rd, Corborn Footrot 4th, but just a ripping race.
It's a great race. I'm with Christo Bale, number 2, and I just feel he's going to begin ahead of Weblek Ace and also ahead of Zipping Bram, which has him in a very handy position on the rail. And if Christo Bale is at the pointy end, it's going to take one hell of a performance to run him down. Second, I went number 6 in Last Hurrah. It's just that genuine pace that he's got over this distance. I think we've seen him sort of expose over the sprints in his past couple of runs, again, up against some of the best sprinters that are around. But I think stepping back up, we're going to see him showing a lot more dash. Third, I went number 1, Weblek Ace. I love what he's about. He's drawn pretty well there in box number 1, and 4th, number 3, Zipping Bram. And look, he's the X factor, absolute X factor in this race because he's capable of absolutely anything, but he's got to be close enough with these real strong, fast types up front. So 2, 6, 1 and 3 for mine, Dan, in the John Dillon, which is an absolute cracker.
Yeah, certainly one of my favourite races coming up on Friday night. Cannot wait for it. All right, time for another break here on Chasing Winners. We've got plenty more feature racing to talk about next. Okay, so we've had a look at plenty of the features for Friday night at Sandown Park, but now it's time for the big one. Race number 6. It's the Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup final. A fantastic field assembled for the 2020 edition. Here's the market, and the superstar Simon Told Helen is the favourite, $2.50, $4.40 each of 2 Shimmer Shine and Tiggerlong Tonk, $5 Hardstyle Rico. The West Aussie superstar Tommy Shelby, he's at $9, and then double figures for the remainder. Jason Lincoln and Jason Adams with us to go through the Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup. And first to you, Wiz, discussing this market. Is it pretty spot on at the moment?
I don't really have any beef with the market order, Dan. Probably just the percentages themselves. I think 6 to 4 or $2.50 is probably a bit short about anything really in a field of this nature. Conversely, I think there is a bit of value with those longer in the market. I think Tommy Shelby, that $9 won't last, and the dog that's not even on that page, I think, is a bit of value, but we'll speak about him later.
Yeah, as we said, not much beef from my end either about the market. It's everything you expect it to be, and what I love about these good races is you can like whoever you want, and you're going to get a reasonable price no matter what, and more than what you're used to getting for them, Dan. So a great betting race for what is seriously a classic contest.
Yep, still a couple of days to go. The market can change, and the speed map, I always look forward to the conversations about the speed map and what we're expecting. Let's have a look, and there seems to be plenty of speed on paper. Wiz, are you agreeing here?
Yeah, that's obvious. Just a snapshot of the first splits from last week. Dan will tell you that. The fastest split last week was 5:04 and the slowest was 5:13. You had 2 dogs that ran 5:04. You had 3 dogs that ran 5:05, plus another one that ran 5:08. Sorry, 2 that ran 5:04 as well. So, I mean, there's a struck match between them if they all jump like they did last week, which you know is not going to happen, Patch. But it's a very, very fast line, isn't it?
It's fast, and I just put up something on the Sandown website just earlier, and it's one thing to compare all the splits. I think the average winning time of a Melbourne Cup is 5:05, and the average time out of these finalists is 5:06 from their heats run last week. But it's one thing to weigh up the numbers and think about who set the fastest first split, but it's another to analyse how they did it, what direction they're going to run in, and ultimately that's going to decide the race, because as you said, they could have won the same split. It's just not going to happen in a field like this where they all want to be in the same spot. So it's going to be a real fierce battle in that first 72 metres of the first beam.
Yeah, can't wait to see how that unfolds early. Let's get into the runner-by-runner analysis for the 2020 TAB Melbourne Cup final. And wearing the red rug, it is Zipping Sullivan. As we have a look and discuss this particular dog, 39 starts, 18 wins, and then, of course, 15 minor placings. And the highlight, of course, taking out the TAB Melbourne Cup heat in 29.63. Wiz, what have you made of Zipping Sullivan?
Yeah, look, I mean, since day one, he's a dog that's always had a massive rap on him. He created a big impression very early in his career. And he wasn't the best away here last week, as you can see. He does want to move pretty sharply to the left patch. So box 1 means that he's not going to really be a hindrance to anything else in the race. He's capable of running 5 dead to the first mark, but conversely, he's capable of coming out and going 5:25 as well.
You're right, he began okay on Friday night, but his start before that in the prelude, he began much worse. So, look, what he's capable of, there's a wide range of that, and as you say, from box 5, he did want to get towards the inside rail, where from box 1, that's a bit of a moot point. So he's drawn exactly where he'd like to be, exactly where connections would want him to be. He's a big price, but again, he's got a lot of talent, but nothing like the superstars that we see line up.
That's Zipping Sullivan wearing the red rug in the final on Friday. As we move on to box 2, the checks will be worn by the superstar and race favourite Simon Told Helen. Needs absolutely no introduction, this dog. Many career highlights so far, Wiz, and the punters are thinking that a Melbourne Cup might be on the agenda come Friday night.
Many career highlights. He's won $750,000 in prize money, as you can see there, Dan. So winning in the Melbourne Cup will make him the latest millionaire. I think his heat win was... Look, I think this is what we expected, Patch. It was a field that, you know, if he's going to win a Melbourne Cup, he should be beating those. He probably could have come out a bit better. He showed then his trademark early speed, but you just wanted him to come out a bit nearer to them, don't you?
In a race of this nature, of a Melbourne Cup, you do. In a heat, he probably gets away with it, but you're right, he's got to begin as well as what he can to go all the way. I think he was probably the winner out of the box draw, having drawn towards the inside with a lot of speed towards the outer, given he's going to have track position if they do meet at the first split. But we know he's got that brutal acceleration, and I just want to touch on the head-on vision from last week's heat of Simon Sold Helen, where on the lateral vision we saw him, I guess, begin okay and then push up and accelerate. But one thing that the form guide does not mention is his tenacity and how much of a bully he is. We see Sweet Demi, I think it is, from box 1, want to push off and gives him a lot of grief there, puts him under a lot of pressure. And a lot of greyhounds would have packed up, gone home and thought that's not for me. But for Simon Sold Helen, he's an absolute bull. No matter what pressure he's going to be put under, he's going to accelerate and go through it. So I think with not a heap of speed around him, again, Wizzy, he wouldn't want to miss the start because he's got a couple on his outside. He do want to get to the fence. But if he does everything we expect him to do, then he's going to be absolutely firing early on.
And I think the other thing that head-on showed is that he sort of half-pie went up with the lids as well there last week, so probably through no real fault of his own other than lack of concentration. He may well have stepped away a little bit poorer than what we're used to seeing from him. But look, since he's come back from the little break after MDC, I can't fault him.
And what that head-on showed as well is just what an imposing dog he is. He's a massive bugger and he's all class, as we mentioned there. So that's the race favourite as we move on to box number 3, carrying the white rug. This will be a very fascinating runner and I'm looking forward to getting your thoughts on Tough Tears and, of course, out of Tears I Am. Now, Tears I Am pups will have raced in 36 group or listed finals on Friday when Tough Tears races in the Cup. It's a fantastic record to have. And this dog was a pretty impressive winner, Wiz, looking back to last week in the heats.
Absolutely. The first thing to bear in mind here is we were speaking about this race as probably just about the fastest speed map last week. We had a dog there, the dog that had the pink Mr. Fix-It, who broke 5 seconds to the first mark the week before. We had Aussie Secret in the red. We had Handsome Prince in the checks. There was just pace all over the shop. The last dog we would have thought spring to the front, let alone jump 2 in front of them's Tough Tears. Look, I think don't read too much into the time is what I would say. He got beaten for pace mid-race, as you'd expect, by those really, really fast dogs. If they hadn't have got around him and he probably stays in front of his own accord, maybe he goes sort of 50-ish, I guess. Now, that probably doesn't look good enough to win on paper, but what I really like about this dog is that, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sort of just reading between the lines when I look at his form. And you alluded to it then, Dan, the fact that he's bred the way he is, I think they've gone through his entire career thinking this dog will end up staying. And the realisation has dawned on them, I think, over the last 6 months, but in particular the last 3 months, that this dog's just a sprinter. They have thrown in a few 595s here and there, but you'll have a look at his most recent, 8 or 9 starts. Primarily, he's raced over 500 metres. I think Rob Britton's just sort of working the dog out now. As I said, there are probably 7 more talented dogs in the race than him, but my word, I think he is a super chance. I think he will hit the frame somewhere, and he's more than a fluker's chance of winning the race.
And it's probably quite unusual for one to be racing over 600 metres for so often like he was and then dropping back and running so fast to the first split, because in his prelude he went 5:08 and then he's gone 5:05 in his heat last week. But I guess the one thing that I saw that he can have a big impact on the race is from the head-on vision last week, he did want to get towards the inside. So we spoke about Simon Sold Helen before. If he was the miss at a half or anything like that, we see Tough Tears there from box 4. He wants to get behind the line of the lure straight away. So to win the race, he's got to begin exactly like he did. But you mentioned the mid-race pace as well, Wiz. I think no matter how he begins, the pressure is going to be absolutely fierce after that. So he's going to have to settle up in the top half of the field. But with that 600-metre form and also the breed that we've mentioned, strength is absolutely in his blood. So I don't think he can lead mid-race, but if he can get away in the same way and settle in that mid to the front half of the field, that's when his race could open up.
Yeah, definitely a dog you don't want to be forgetting about come the final on Friday night. As we move on to box number 4 and the blue rug. This will be worn by Lucy's Milo, a winner of over $187,000 in prize money. 20 career wins. Was second in the Group 2 launching pad here at Sandown Park as well. Wiz, what are your thoughts on Lucy?
Well, my initial thoughts is 187k for a dog that's never won a feature race. It's a good earn, isn't it? Look, his win last week, again, very, very tradesman-like from the draw. He used it perfectly. He looked under siege, coming to the turn with Jim Zardashian. But I made the point on air, Patch. If you hark back to the Speed Star when he knocked off Feral Frankie, it was a similar scenario there. And look, I'm not suggesting that Lucy's Milo's waiting for them. It's never been a trade of his that I've ever seen before. But I do definitely think that when he sees one up alongside him, he finds a little bit more, and that was the case here on Friday, wasn't it?
It was, and we heard from Tom Daly on the Catching Pen yesterday talking about Lucy's Milo and saying it just doesn't like to lose. They can loom up to him, and as you said, Jim Zardashian, you would have taken any sort of price as he loomed up because we know how strong he is. But for Lucy's Milo to kick back, very impressive. He does grow a leg from box number 1, so he had that advantage last week. Box 4 this time around in a field that he comes up against. Tough challenge. But if anything, he will want to get towards the inside, which again highlights the importance of Simon's Old Helen getting the start right.
And that is Lucy's Milo as we move on to the final 4 dogs in this year's Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup. On to box number 5, and this yellow rug will be carried by Hardstyle Rico. $192,000 in prize money, a winner of 20 from 39, including the Group 3 Silver Bullet Whiz.
Yeah, look, he's a rocket, this dog. There's no doubt about it. 20 from 39, and he's grown up in this amazing crop of classic greyhounds. Himself, Simon's Old Helen, Shimmer Shine and Tiggerlong Tonk have been swapping notes for the best part of at least 12 months here, and he was just so well suited from the pink last week. We spoke about it on the show. He's undefeated from box 8, and I'm sure Lucky would have really liked to have seen him up there in the pink on Friday night. Patch, I think the question mark for me with him is he's never really liked pressure to his outside, and I think we saw that in the shootout. He had the white there. He had pace to his outside, Tiggerlong Tonk and Shimmer Shine. They wanted to come over on top of him, and he just didn't drive the run like I would have liked to have seen. I think he's better positioned when he's outside the pace, and for that reason, I have to put a line through him, which really hurts because I've got a massive rap on the dog.
It's a big call to pull a line through him, I think. I think clearly box 8 would have been his best draw, but aside from that, I really don't think 5's too bad because I've harped on a little bit about the 2 on his inside in Lucy's Milo and Tough Tears, who probably will want to get to the inner no matter how they begin, and that gives a bit of room for Hardstyle Rico. So he's probably got to rely on the ones on his outer not beginning better than him, but look, outside of his perfect draw, I don't think 5's too bad.
And sticking with Hardstyle Rico, Wiz, talk us through the head-on shot here. I'm interested to get your thoughts.
Pertinent, isn't it? We'll roll tape here. So he has the pink and he handles the pink perfectly. And he's got a middle draw here on Friday night, as Jay said. So again, you'll want to see him here do what he does, and what he does is run a very straight line. I would just jump on while we're watching this now. I would just jump on the point that Patch made there, and I take on board that the 5 could be okay. The reason I say that is, looking across the line at that speed map, Patch, every dog other than probably Lucy's Milo is capable of going sub 505, and I just, this is going to sound probably horrible, but you were looking for a little chink, I guess, on the speed map and the box draw. I guess Lucy's Milo is probably the hole in that speed map that you can focus in on. So the dogs drawn either side of Lucy's Milo probably have a little advantage because of that. Yeah, possibly. And look, for mine with Hardstyle Rico in that room that I somewhat seeing him get, I just sort of look back to the Silver Bullet where he had Simon's Old Helen on his inside, who gave him that room. He had Dr. Tucker on his outside, who's going to hold a pretty true line. And that's where we saw him go forward and do a number on them. So, I'm not going to dismiss him. I think he's a big player in the race.
Okay, let's move on to dog number 6, carrying the green rug and the hopes of WA. Geez, the scenes in Perth will be next level if Tommy Shelby can get up in the TAB Melbourne Cup. Geez, he's been a good dog so far. $261,000 in prize money now with Kelgrino on the East Coast. 21 career victories, including a win in the Group 3 Perth Cup Consolation Wiz. He's just a ripper.
Indeed he is. Not just for what he does on the track, but off the track as well, Dan. Looks probably second last to leave here last week. A lot of courage here to drive that gap between the checks and the blue in that run of the first turn. It didn't matter really what he did thereafter in the race. He's always going to win from here on, but that was the most impressive part of the win for me. I thought he was the win of the night. 29-21. Joey's $9 here, Patch. I just kept looking at this race thinking, you know what, he's going to get the start right soon there in Victoria. He's 3 runs there. He hasn't been brilliantly away. There's every chance that on Friday night he might just pick the right night to come out on the right foot.
That's absolutely the key. And I love that you mentioned about him pushing through that gap, because that's what separates the very fast from the very good. There's a lot of fast greyhounds around, but not many of them race in that same sort of professionalism as we saw Tommy Shelby do last Friday. He took that gap, and that's exactly what won him the race. But you mentioned his Victorian form so far. He got away pretty well in the Top Gun. And then at a grade 5 in the Meadows, he didn't get away well at all. And he was almost last off the mat in his heat last Friday night. So we know he can get away much better, but he's just got to do it.
Now, Patch, speaking of Tommy Shelby, and let's go back to this fantastic head-on vision that we've got. Talk us through this, and Jason Lincoln, will go to you here. Talk us through Tommy.
Yeah, well, he's got the wide, as we saw. Short Pork, I think, is the dog to his outside. Yep. And the dog to his inside escapes my memory. Run Bubba Run was the dog in the yellow, and she was obviously the key to the map that we discussed here on Chasing Winners last week. Just that she would come across and take that space, which is what she's doing here. But Tommy just, look, as I said, watching it the first time round, I thought, geez, there wasn't a lot of room to work in there. And the more I went back and watched it, I just thought it was such a courageous effort. And that head on there shows it perfectly, doesn't it?
It was good, and I probably wouldn't hold it in the same light as one like Simon Solheim, where Simon Solheim's probably going to absolutely force that room and go through it. But Tommy Shelby sort of had the window of light there to push through, and he still did it, which is still a massive tick. So, he's just got to begin well, as we've repeated throughout our summary on him.
Got a ripper fan base, so best of luck to the Tommy crew on Friday night. As we move on to the next of the dogs, the Black Rug will be carried by none other than Shimmer Shine, a regular feature in these feature events, $380,000 in prize money. He's a stellar dog, 26 career victories, including the Group 1 TAB Top Gun Whiz. What have you made of him in this year's Melbourne Cup field?
Yeah, look, he did everything we expected him to do last week, didn't he, Dan? From box 3, first away, once he finds the bunny. I don't think there are too many dogs on the planet to be able to get past him. 29.19, he was out pretty early. He was in one of the early heats. I guess it's just box 7, isn't it, Patch? Pace either side with Tig-along Tonk, Tommy Shelby and Hardstyle Rico to his inside. I don't know that he could run any of them down either, so he has to clear them, doesn't he?
He's got to clear them, and there's a big group of them here where we're probably not going to see a swooper in the race unless Tough Tears really settles close. But outside of him, we're not going to see a swooper. So it's just going to be so important, that run to the first turn. And for Shimmer Shine, you can't knock him on anything he's done. It's this box 7, and box 7 in a traditional, whether it would have been a heat last week or a week-to-week free-for-all, is probably not a bad result. But in a race like this with some serious guns drawn all around him, you can't knock him, but it's just what's going to happen. He's just got to beat him out, which is a big ask.
There's no question on his class at all, Shimmer Shine, and I'm sure he'll be asserting himself pretty well come Friday night in the TAB Melbourne Cup final. And the final runner to have a look at, bearing the pink rug, will no doubt have a massive supporter base here. Tig-along Tonk, over $340,000 in the bank for Corey Grenfell, 32 career victories, including the Group 3 shootout, Jason Lincoln.
Yeah, he's really been on his game at box rise of late. You can see he's there. His best first section's 5:01 in the past, but when he wins the shootout on Prelude night, he ran 5:03, and then last week he ran 5:04. So he was the quickest he's the quickest out of this bunch here on Prelude night, and he's the quickest of last week's heats. Again, with him, it's just box 8. He's going to have to get over in front of some very, very fast customers, but his record from the pink patch is near enough faultless.
It's very good. He's won 6 of 9 when jumping from box number 8. And from his heat last week there from box 4, he ran a dead straight line. And I'd say it would see him do exactly the same from the pink. So, look, he's going to have his own business to handle from out there. He's going to go that split of 5-0s, I think, holding his own line. It's just a query of what's happening underneath him. If he's drawn towards the inside, it's a different sort of race. But I mentioned earlier on with Simon Solheim, track position so important. You've got half the field going 5-0s. You want to be on the inside. For Tig-along Tonk, he's in the worst position there. So he's got to pull something from out of his sleeve to be able to clear him.
That's an interesting point there with Tig-along Tonk, Patch, but of course that record from the outside box, as Wiz mentioned, certainly nothing to sneeze at. OK, let's get into selections. Punters, get your pens out. Let's get into it. Jason Lincoln, where are you going in the Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup on Friday?
I have to say that I changed my numbers just so I didn't get laughed off the show, basically. I originally had Tough Tears on top, not because I think it's a certainty at all, but I just think $61 each way is a really good play. And look, this will be the bet I have in the race, so I don't want to be crowing that I've backed the winner after the race when I've tipped something else on top. So with an asterisk, I've got Untitled Chapter on top. I couldn't take $2.50. I think he's at least a plus $3 chance in the race. So I've got him on top as I think he's the most likely winner. But my bet in the race is clearly Tough Tears. Now, I really want to bet up for a place. I want to have something small for a win just in case. But, there's just enough on the speed map to, give me a realistic chance that he can be somewhere near them. And as I said, I think he'll certainly hit the frame somewhere. If you're taking first fours, you definitely want to have him on side. For fourth, I've left Tommy Shelby. As I said, I just get the feeling that, not that he's been poorly away. I mean, he's run 5:09, 5:08, 5:13. He's 3 runs there. And as Patch made the point a little bit earlier, but for, getting cut out of a run there in the Top Gun, he may well have landed on the pace there and we might have seen a different result. So don't sleep on him at a silly price. And I've left Zipping Sullivan there for fourth because, again, he's 50 to 1 if I'm taking first fours and trifectas. As we've said, the speed map's so even that, he's getting half a head start, isn't he, down there on the inside. So wouldn't be the most popular numbers in the world, I wouldn't have thought, Dan, and won't be on too many tickets, but hopefully we can sneak some value in there. 2, 3, 6 and 1 for me.
If Tough Tears wins the race, Wiz, this show will be renamed Jason Lincoln Chasing Winners. I've got no doubt about that. But I'm with Simon Solon number 2. Just that brute of a greyhound that he is. He's got the acceleration. He's got the class. And look, one thing that I align with him is you get so many greyhounds in this field that we know are so good. They can all run very fast times, but none of them have the resume of Simon Solon. He's a big feature race winner. Box 2, he's just got to begin on terms. I think he'll accelerate after that. There's not a lot of speed on his immediate outside, but he's got to clear him. As we said, the pressure's going to be there because they will want to get towards the inside. So he's got to be off and gone early on. Second, I went number 5, Hardstyle Rico. Again, I think he's drawn okay with 2 on his inner who aren't going to impede on his run. He's just got to begin well. He should get that room. I think they get a few strides under his belt. Third, I went number 7 in Shimmer's Shine. Clearly one of the fastest greyhounds in the race, but how's his race going to play out? It's too hard to doubt any of those around him to guarantee him to get a really clear run. And fourth, number 8, Tigger Tonk, who I think is going to hold a pretty true line there from box number 8. So I'm with the champ, Simon Solon, and this is a race where we know how good he's been for the whole year. If he wins a Melbourne Cup, Dan, he becomes one of the all-time greats.
Oh, he certainly does. I can't wait to see this on Friday night. It's going to be a ripper. The Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup, and best of luck to all connections involved. Another of the features to have a look at on the meeting on Friday night. Yep, there's more. It's the listed Cup Night Sprint as we have a look at the market and how it's shaping with TAB customers at the moment. And looking at it now, Short Pork is the $3.10 favourite with fixed. Music Event, $3.60. Second reserve, Arizona Eyes at $4.80. And Jack's Bale next best at $5.50. Wiz, what have we made of the Cup Night Sprint?
Look, I think first of all, I think the speed map's near enough to correct. There's a little bit of give and take with a couple of runners there. Music Event, I'd be interested in getting Patch's thoughts on him. I thought he broke down last week. He went that bad. I haven't had time to check the steward's report, but he's going around, so obviously he's fitting well. But I thought he was very ordinary last week. But yeah, look, I think the map's about right, and I think the market's right.
And I think the big parts of this race is, Dan, when we look at that speed map, we're going to see speed from Indigo Turbo and also Junk Food Junkie, but the key to them is they want to be in that middle part of the track, so it opens it up for those two on the inside. So I think it's a big part of how this race is going to play out early on.
Yep, certainly interesting in the early stages as we get into the dogs to highlight, and we're firstly going to have a look at Short Pork running in second in one of the heats of the Melbourne Cup last week, Wiz.
That's right. So he's got the blue, and that's Tommy Shelby in the 3. So we've just watched this a few times. Bar for Tommy pushing up inside of him. He wins this race, Short Pork, and he runs 29.33 getting beat. He ran 29.22 a couple of weeks ago when he beat Jack's Bale. He's had 3 goes from box 1, 2 wins in a second. He jumps significantly better when he draws near the inside. And Patch, I think he looks one of the better bets of the night.
It looks to be in his hands, and look, Anthony has a party for a long time has stressed that this greyhound hasn't had a really good run of box draws, but he needs the inside, so he's got box number 1, and as mentioned, there's going to be a bit of room down towards the fence, so he's a greyhound that loves racing at Sandown Park too. So Dan, he looks to be a major player in the race.
Yeah, he certainly does. Now, the second of the replays we're going to have a look at is another of the Melbourne Cup heats featuring two of these dogs, Do It and Music Event. Now, Do It has box 7, Music Event box 1, Wiz.
Yeah, the owners of Do It might want to block their ears just for a moment. I am in love with this dog. His last 2 runs have just been off the charts for me. He had no right to run as well as he did here. No right whatsoever. I mean, he's got box 5, which is ugly here, Patch. He's desperate for the inside. I don't know that this is his race, but wow, he's got a massive future, this pup.
He's got a big future, and you're right about his past couple of starts where he's been enormous. And look, I could be a bit harsh on him and say he seems to be a type at the moment that sort of back me next time sort of run, but he doesn't turn 2 until January, so he's still got a lot to learn. And you're right, he's absolutely full of talent, so he'll be running on. There's no two ways about that.
Okay, time for selections in the Cup Night Sprint. Jason Lincoln, where are you steering punters?
I won't go into too much detail because we'll talk a bit more about this dog at the end of the program. I went 1, 5, 8 and 6. I'll
miss Short Pork number 1. I think the inside draw is so important, and there's going to be room down there towards the fence. I went with him from number 2, Music Event, and Wiz was right. He wasn't that good last week. He missed a start, which he also has done from box 1 not too long prior. But I think with the room that he's going to get, he's probably not going to make that mistake 2 weeks in a row. I hope he wouldn't anyway. So he's going to get every chance there from the inside. Third, number 8, Mr. Fix-It, who can show that blinding early speed. And then fourth, number 5, Do It, who will be running on no matter where he's settling in running. So I'm his Short Pork and agree with Wiz. He looks to be one of the more attractive options of the night.
And a fantastic race is the Cup Night Sprint. All right, time for one final break here on Chasing Winners. On the other side, we'll have best bets for the next few days.
Ask any trainer, any breeder, any owner what race they want to win, you'll get one answer. The world's greatest greyhound race. But it's not just the $435,000 winner's purse that has every enthusiast dreaming of glory. Steeped in tradition and prestige, the TAB Melbourne Cup has been won by countless champions since Rocketeer's inaugural triumph back in 1956. It's also one of the hardest races to win. When the nation's best sprinters converge for the series, it takes the perfect ratio of speed, strength and tenacity to claim the title. Over the years, we've seen some fairy tale finishes. Back in 2006, Paul and Diane Bartolo owned, bred and trained the Quinella, the winner named after Diane's late mother. But the Cup has also seen its share of controversy. None more so than Surgeon's shocking 2008 victory.
To the turn and Hannah fires Impact. Can she do it? Highly blessed done. She turned in front. Surgeon late. Surgeon goes to Hannah fires Impact. Surgeon's won it.
There's been plenty of favourites that have got the job done for punters.
Was Go Wild Teddy turning for home, having a crack at a classic Capri, but it's Go Wild Teddy in front. Go Wild Teddy wins the Cup.
Black Magic Opal has the Melbourne Cup. 4-length break into the straight. Dynabeth running on late, but Black Magic Opal's going to go all the way.
Aston DB in front. He's 4 lengths clear of Cooter Mayhem chasing Crackers. The favourite swung for home clear. It's Aston DB's TAB Melbourne Cup.
We've also seen some outsiders add their names to the honour roll.
Into the home straight though, Classic Capri well clear. Classic Capri wins the Melbourne Cup.
Tando's back by 2.5, Barton Bale. Jezelenko's running on, turning for home. Tando's back by 2, Jezelenko's coming. Jezelenko ties to Dando's back, but Dando's back won it.
There's been the nail-biting, exhilarating finishes.
Tentil Dollar starting to run it down. Tentil Dollar up along the rail. Honcho is Tentil Dollar. City Blitz fly. City Blitz.
Coming up to the turn, Haranui Hitman narrowly. Got a moment getting up on the inside. Glengallen peels to the outside. Switches down the outer. Got a moment in front and got a moment's won the Melbourne Cup, I'd say, from Glengallen.
Western Envoy and Whiskey right there, locked in battle. Oakvale Beauty's a length away, but it's Western Envoy letting down. Raced up to Whiskey Right, who lifts. Oh, what a go.
and also some emphatic one-act affairs.
It's El Gran Senor a mile in front in the Melbourne Cup. The reigning Top Gun winner is going to add the Melbourne Cup to the mantelpiece with a brilliant win.
It's been the race where youngsters have announced their arrival on the biggest stage of all.
Sandown Park exploded about 6 lengths out in front of Devon Road. Flying Law, then Faithhawk into the straight though. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. A super spreader, Sandown Park, wins the cup by 4 lengths. In the back, it's Dinah Villa, the leader. About 3, Chica Destacata. Then the favourite, Kibo. But around the corner, Dinah Villa wins the TAB Melbourne Cup.
Where current stars of the track have continued their dominance,
Bombastic Shiraz exploded around the outside and hit the lead in the cup now. Bombastic Shiraz race clear, top the back, Hallucinate the leader. A length and a half to Born Yesterday, closing 5 lengths. CJ's Vixen into the straight though. Hallucinate clear. It's Hallucinate for the Melbourne Cup.
My Redeemer in front, leading by 2. Black Opium sticking on in second placing. Dirt Cheese Gifted, then West on Augie. My Redeemer swung for home in front. 3 clear of Black Opium, and My Redeemer won the cup.
and where champions have become immortals.
Eureka Man at last, Kareem, but Hayley Blessed is starting. She's about 3 or 4 lengths out in front of a Black Pirate. Going through on the inside is Sing Along, but Hayley Blessed racing away. The favourite wins the cup.
And Rapid Journey shot away, out 5 lengths clear from Sheldon Bale. Then Billy Cruz behind No Star of Mine, Seren Bale, Bazooka Bale, Golden Butter and Aquin Bale. But there's no doubting this champion Rapid Journey, and he bolts in the Schweppes Melbourne Cup.
No matter the backstory, the TAB Melbourne Cup is always a sensational race.
In front, Fernando Bale, but Dinah double one with an 8. They're 3 on for Bearville Lazar. Into the straight, Fernando Bale first for home. Dinah double one closes. Dinah double one, maybe got Fernando Bale on the line in the cup.
The 2020 event is set to be nothing short of spectacular. We have the reigning Australian Greyhound of the Year, Simon Told Helen, looking for Group 1, number 5. And then there's the TAB Top Gun champion Shimmershine and Sandown Shootout winner Tigalong Tonk, both racing in career best form. The Pride of the West, Tommy Shelby, will be out to make his presence felt, as will the underrated Hardstyle Rico. Can either claim their maiden Group 1 in the race that matters most? Our outsiders also can't be forgotten. The old boy, Lucy's Milo, just weeks short of his 4th birthday. Zipping Sullivan, who is yet to miss a place from the coveted inside draw. And Tough Tears, can he step out of the shadows of his famous siblings? What a race we have at 8:10 p.m. this Friday night.
Oh, if that doesn't get you excited for Friday night, I do not know what will. It's a fantastic race, the Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup, and a fantastic field, as you just heard there. Jason Lincoln, Jason Adams. Starting with you, Wiz, what have some of your highlights been of this race? It's produced some fantastic wins.
Yeah, look, I'd probably have, I guess I'd have 3 in terms of, I think in terms of pure class, and the best dog I've ever seen is Rapid Journey. Best race dog I've ever seen is Rapid Journey. You know, probably seen faster dogs, but so far as a race dog goes, I think he's without peer. The other 2 races as such that stand out are obviously the City Blitz 10 Hill Dial 1 and the Dinah Double 1 Fernando Bale 1. Both for the same reasons. They're both classic races, but the calls really added to it. And I sort of say this every time about the Dinah Double 1. I don't know why on the big nights we don't get more effects mics down closer to the track so that we can really take in that crowd. Because without the crowd in that call, I don't know, is it as exciting? I'm sure the race itself is, but you know, the call and the energy from the crowd really add to it.
Oh, you just got shivers watching that back and listening to the crowd. It just makes you want to be there. A fantastic contest it was. And Patch, we've mentioned Fernando Bale and Dinah Double 1. What have been the highlights for you in the Melbourne Cup?
Oh, look, I haven't seen as many as what a lot of other people have, Dan, but wow, is there a better race? And I won't be watching that package at when I go to sleep tomorrow night because I'll be getting no shut-eye at all before a Melbourne Cup. But look, from when I first started getting interested in the sport, it was 2012 and the Cup won by God of Moments and Glenn Gallen flashing home. And look, one of the tightest finishes that the Cup has seen, but clearly the number one highlight for me and for so many people is that 2015 edition with Fernando Bale somehow missing the kick, somehow still finding the front, and Dinah Double 1 storming home to get the job done. And Wiz is absolutely spot on about more effects mics. When you do get that opportunity to get a big crowd, it does absolutely enhance the replay for not only the experience watching live, but that's going to be shown over and over for years to come. So it's it's absolutely vital, I think, and certainly a great addition to that in what is one of the great races, not only one of the great Melbourne Cups, one of the great races of all time.
Yeah, and it's something to look forward to in the years to come as well. All right, we've had a look at all the features for Friday night. We've had a look at the big one, the Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup as well. And now it's time for best bets for Friday night. Jason Lincoln, where are you steering the punters?
I'm pretty bullish Friday night, I've got to say, Dan. I think there are two good things. The first one comes up in race 1. It is dog number 2, Aston Silk. We're going to have a look at her run last week, and I thought she was outstanding again in defeat last week. Sorry, this is in the prelude. Where she was outstanding in winning. The run last week, just to speak about that in isolation, in the Lucy's Milo race, well, she got all but wiped out at the first turn, picked herself up and still managed to run third. She's just gotten so much stronger. And seemingly this has all sort of happened, I think, on the back of her trip to Adelaide. She's come back, seemingly a better dog, Aston Silk. And look, what I love about that race is just the sheer lack of speed across the board. Better watch out who's drawn to her outside's got some pace, but he'll step up the track, and I think she leads and wins. And we spoke about Short Pork before. He's unlucky that he's probably not going around the Melbourne Cup final. He's beaten by a class act in Tommy Shelby, but certainly not disgraced, 29.33. We spoke about his love affair of an inside draw and the fact that the way the speed map shapes, he's going to get every favour down there on the inside, chasing those two speedy girls, Indy and Junk Food Junkie, who will want to stay in the middle of the track. So I'm really bullish, Dan, I've got to say. Last couple of weeks I've probably fished around here and there to try and get a little bit of value, but this week these two just jumped off the page.
Race 1, number 2, and of course race 8, number 1 as well. The best bets for Jason Lincoln on Friday night. Patch, where are you steering the punters?
I'm in support of Wizzers 2 and also want to add to it race 10, number 3, an Eagle's Nest Egg. I thought it was sensational at the Meadows last Saturday night, where we see him here jump from box number 8. And look, from that position, it's a pretty rude thought to think that he went on and win the race, but he's a real powerful unit. And I've heard Brendan Purcell speak about him and say that he did take a while. He showed a lot through his education, but he took a while to really convert that to race performances and race wins. But we've seen that in his past probably almost 6 starts now where he's been really good. So a good performance there. He's drawn towards the inside in box 3 in race 10 this Friday. So he's the one that I'm adding to that list. Race 10, number 3, Eagle's Nest Egg.
Okay, hopefully the punters at home have jotted down those best bets from both Jason Lincoln and Jason Adams for Friday night's bumper meeting at Sandown Park. And just quickly recapping, boys, selections for the big one. Jason Lincoln, where are you going?
Selections, I've gone 2, 3, 6 and 1. I've got Simon Told Helen on top. He's the most likely winner in my eyes. I don't like the price that he is currently. I wouldn't want to get involved unless he was $3 plus. I think clearly the bet in the race is Tough Tears. $61 at the moment. I think this is worth a really healthy place bet. Something small to win. You don't want 60-1 chances going in without you. And if you are taking tries and first fours, please make sure you run him through. I'm very, very bullish that he'll hit the frame somewhere. Knowing my luck, though, boys, it'll be 4th.
As it always is, Wiz, it so often kicks us in the backside, that sort of result. I'm with Simon Told Helen. He's just an out-and-out jet, and I think a Melbourne Cup would be something that elevates him to one of the best greyhounds in that top echelon that we've seen. So I don't think there's a lot of pressure immediately to his outside, but he wouldn't want to miss it because they will want to come down after that. So as long as he gets away quite cleanly, we know he's going to accelerate like a raging bull. And then from there, it's all about what's happening on their outside with the likes of Hardstyle Rico from 5, I think is quite well drawn. Shimmer Shine out wide and Tiggerlong Tonk and throwing Tommy Shelby from 6 as well. So it's a stunning Melbourne Cup field, one of the best we've seen, but I'm with the champ Simon Told Helen to put the biggest cherry of all on top of what's been a magnificent year for him.
Oh, I can't wait to see the race. It's a fantastic field, as we've said multiple times throughout the show. So best of luck to all connections with dogs in the Group 1 TAB Melbourne Cup, and best of luck to the club as well at Sandown Park. It's going to be an absolute ripper. And, of course, you can see all the action here on Sky Racing as well. OK, that wraps us up, boys. It's been a massive show and a great way for me to end off as well. And it's been an absolute pleasure. Firstly, to you, Patch. Of course, thanks for all of your work so far on the show. Look forward to seeing you for many times to come on Chasing Winners, and enjoy Friday night. It's going to be a ripper.
Looking forward to it. Sky Racing active all night on Friday. And before we go, Dan, congratulations to you, of course, your last show on Sky. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. Luckily, the racing game hasn't lost you as you move on to another opportunity. But Wiz, he's been a good man for the show, hasn't he?
Yeah, look, absolutely. He's probably fortunate he's got that job, because I saw him walk in today, Patch, and he had a little man bun at the back here. I know COVID hasn't treated him really well and he hasn't been able to get to the hairdresser as often as he would have liked, but, geez, I was disappointed to see that, and that probably would have got him the sack. But then when I found out he's moved on to something bigger and better, well, that saved his bacon. Look, in all seriousness, strangely enough, I didn't know Dan. We both came from WA to land here in Skye, but have really enjoyed working with Dan and trying to, I guess, impart some of my minuscule knowledge about the game on, so that we can work side by side here. Appreciated your work on track and on the shows as well, Dan. And obviously, Sky's loss is someone else's gain. You'll be sorely missed around here. We certainly can't afford to lose people of your talents, mate. And look, we wish you all the best in the future. It's been a good ride.
Thank you, Wiz. It certainly has, and appreciate everything you've done. It's been an absolute ripper. We've had plenty of fun on track as well in both Sydney and here in Melbourne, and look forward to seeing both of your work over the next few years, and can't wait to see plenty of feature greyhound racing. But thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute thrill, and of course all the team behind the scenes as well. These shows don't go to air without the solid work from our directors, our DAs, vision switchers, audio operators, technical directors. They make us look so much better than what we actually are, I can confirm that. And they work tirelessly to put together a fantastic product, as do our producers. Kat Ernst is an absolute legend. So thank you so much for all the opportunities. I certainly won't forget it anytime soon. So best of luck to all the punters, many winners to you. And until next time, we'll see you soon.